So today we are comparing two incredible Daderatis. We've got the GranSport and the GranTurismo S, both automated manuals, both with the incredible naturally aspirated V8. But which one is better? Let's find out. My name's Ben and welcome to Dadcars. I have previously done Dadcars reviews on both of these cars, and the GranSport surprised me so much that I ended up buying it. And today, me and Joe are going to be driving both of these cars, giving our honest thoughts on which one is better on a Sunday morning blast. Oh, you turn it?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have a start button? See, I think I prefer the start button.
I don't disagree with you.
Look, okay, we're going to be completely honest in this video, but I think it's already clear, because there's no start button, that mine is the better car. So, and also, where's your carbon fibre?
Why would you want carbon fibre? Little trinkets here and there.
Carbon fibre.
Look, what I like most though is how much you pretend not to like this car, but truthfully you love it, and you've even...
Wait, look, we know you're going to sell me this car, aren't you? You're going to continue to put crazy amount of miles on it, and then you're going to sell it to me for 1,500 quid.
And the fact that you are preparing for the ownership of this car by changing the colour of your beard to match the interior.
Yeah, I am clashing a bit, aren't I? Yeah, see, look, this is another thing that's good about mine, is that you get a break from screen time in my car.
I mean, that sounds wonderful.
The biggest complaint about the GranTurismo has always been the size and the weight of it, hasn't it?
Well,
that's what people always say, right? They moan about it. Oh, it's too big, too heavy. And when you look at our two cars, I think that they represent us really well. You know, the GranSport is perfectly proportioned. I'm 5'11", it's the perfect height. You are ridiculously tall. You're like a giant. It's excessive, you don't need it. And the same could be said about the GranTurismo. I'm just saying, all right?
I mean, you can go down that avenue if you like, but clearly, proportions-wise, this is well proportioned, as am I.
Well, I think it's clear to say that this wins in the sound department. For me, this is.
I mean, there is no way I can disagree with that.
This is I think the greatest sounding standard car you can buy within reason, other than, you know, like crazy supercars and stuff like that. One
thing I've really enjoyed about this car is genuinely it's two cars. By which I mean, you turn the exhaust off, you put it into non-sport mode, normal mode, and you can sit down on a péage doing a sensible speed of 81 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Can I wink at that one? And you can sit there doing sensible MPG, about 16, for hours in the péage. It's spectacular. 16 MPG. What do you actually average in this, would you say? Well, if you press mode on that button in the very right hand corner, it will tell you my current. So 17.5 for the last 1,400 miles.
Okay. Yeah. Well, with the drive-by-wire mod on my car, I was getting about 15, so I think it should be better now. But yeah, for me, straight away, obviously you can feel that this is a much bigger car, but it is more comfortable. What makes you say
that, though? What makes it feel bigger to you?
Well, it is actually bigger.
Okay, it's discounting the dimensions. Look, you said feel bigger.
Don't get me wrong, my dream car is the Ferrari FF.
Yeah.
And when you sit in the Ferrari FF, it feels like, imagine if you were sat in the back seats of this, and that's where your bonnet feels like it is. I love it. I love the drama of it. And with all modern cars now being SUVs, every car now is like 2.1 meters wide and 5 meters long. So, and the downshifts as well. Something else as well, which I think is better in my car, but I don't think this is fair. I prefer the paddles in my car.
Okay, well they're carbon fibre for a start, aren't they?
Yeah.
I haven't driven your car yet. I will be the one that decides.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But I don't think that they're standard. I think that they've been changed.
Okay. I like the feel of these. These have got a really mechanical click to them, which I really enjoy.
And it'll be interesting to see what you think about what the feel is like, what the click is like on mine. What speed is it here?
60. Did you take your foot off them?
Yeah.
Why?
I didn't lift off because I thought I needed to.
Fine.
If I was carrying on going fast, I'd just leave my foot in.
Exactly that, yeah. So I thought you lifted off, then put your foot down again.
Yeah, no. So I basically lifted off because that was it. I was up to the speed I wanted. Oh, the sound of this exhaust, honestly. And what we'll do in a minute is you're going to drive this as well, and you're going to drive it faster than I am, or more correctly. It's lovely. It's incredible. Since the drive-by-wire mod's come off of mine, it literally happened yesterday. I've only driven it up to you, really.
Yeah.
But it's a lot smoother than it was. But this is really, really smooth. People who simply dismiss robotised manuals and have never driven one, if they drove this and actually spent a bit of time with it, I think they'd be converted. Because it's very, very nice and easy to use and quite engaging, isn't it? I've always, grown up with the narrative, hearing it on Top Gear, and hearing other people talk about how robotised manuals are terrible and they ruin cars and stuff. But there's a lot of cars which are now affordable because they've got that reputation.
Yeah.
Like 612, Scaglietti.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want a manual in that, I mean, they're crazy money.
They are, yeah.
And the gear shifts are quick as well, I would say.
So the way this is completely standard. There's nothing on this car apart from the CarPlay. This is a completely standard car. The way in which the gearbox works, when you're in a standard touring mode, I would call it, but your normal mode, the gearbox is very relaxed and it does try and maintain things nicely. But when you've got it in the sport mode and it's got MCS on the dashboard, where the gearbox is warmed up, where it's happy to actually use the fastest shifts, it's spectacular and it's so engaging because I'm going to wear that word out because it's so engaging.
Yeah, and what I can say as well, it says, just going around these corners here, this feels very planted and very sure of itself. It's holding the road really, really well. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what you think of the GranSport.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I haven't driven one, so I'm looking forward to driving it.
Right, so let's swap round then, and because you'll be able to make this thing even more, right? On your way back, potentially.
We'll see.
To be fair, even though you've got freakishly long legs,
there is
still space behind.
We could sit in the back as we are now.
If you were in a 2+2 Aston, the seat would probably be resting up against.
We're not comparing Astons anymore.
Seat. No, that's it. I'm in the Daderati world now. Even with the foot to the floor, you don't feel like you're going to get spat off the road in this, do you?
Not at all. No, I mean, in the wet, I've got P4Ss on this, and in the wet they are very good, but you can definitely find the limit of the traction. But ultimately, they are very, very good. But in every environment, 9 times out of 10, I'm driving this either to work or with my son in the car, and to be honest, I'm just driving it and having a bit of fun in a very sensible environment. So you're never going to find the extremities of the tyres or similar. But the way in which this drives, I mean, I'm driving now at 40 miles an hour in a 60, and I can hear that sound. It sounds great. Change gears. It's just that environment where it just becomes a special feeling car.
And it's not droney, is it?
No.
Keep putting the miles on it.
I intend to.
So you can sell it to me for a really low price. Well, because the interesting thing is that I paid pretty much half the price for my GranSport that you paid to buy this car. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much half the price, talking about pound for pound. Mm-hmm. We'll ignore the fact that my car had more than 100,000 miles more on the clock than yours did when you purchased it and what mine did when I purchased it. But sticking with the pound for pound theme, because that's what I sort of said in my GranSport review before I even owned it. First time I drove one was that I feel it's very close when you sort of think of it in those terms. So when you drive the GranSport, think about pound for pound as well. Although to be fair, if you've got a similar mileage GranSport now, similar mileage condition history, and a similar mileage condition history one of these, there's not much actually in it, is there?
No, there's not.
this is interesting. Look, what's the manoeuvrability like?
Brilliant.
See?
Mostly down to the driver, however.
Yeah, is that what it was? Because I've driven a Grand Cabrio on the channel, and that gearbox is tremendous. It is effortless.
Yeah.
It is a lot easier and effortless, more effortless to drive than this. This is why I wanted to buy a robotised manual, because once it becomes a muscle memory to you, do you know what I mean? Then that kind of removes the need of it being effortless, because you're kind of doing it without thinking. But I can see why people who've never driven one before jump in one and suddenly they're like, oh, gee, this is terrible. I just want a ZF back, and then I can just put it into automatic mode and not have to think sometimes.
I mean, one thing I really like about this is I owned it for a week. We had some challenges and some problems. Sports Italia really supported me by making sure it was safe and roadworthy. And I went to France. I actually went to Disneyland with my wife and my son. And genuinely, this car has been nothing but great and spectacular. In going to, there was 4 of us that went to the Nürburgring. There was 4 of us that went to Le Mans twice. We've just come back from doing our second trip to Belgium, where we're going to see the war memorials. And for those environments, in every single instance, it's been nothing but perfect.
Right, so now we're going to hop into the GranSport, and you're going to drive a GranSport for the first time. Have you ever driven any of the Maserati, 3200, 4200 GranSports? Ever driven any?
No.
Have you ever been in one?
No.
Oh, you're in for a treat. Right, so now we are in the GranSport.
It's remarkably different in here.
Well, yeah, first impressions. First, you've already moved my seat all the way back to a point where Peter Crouch could drive it. And there is still space behind, actually.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's still a 4-seater. It's still because the dash is so far back.
Really pushed back, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels so much area in here, even though it's slightly smaller. This has got a start button as well.
Come on. Now tell me, is that not nice?
Look, I'm a complete convert. I'm surprised mine hasn't got one, and I like it.
The keys on both of our cars are a bit rubbish. That's one thing.
There's nothing wrong with having a Fiat key.
They'll flippy out one.
There we go. See,
my old Vito used to have one like this.
Yeah.
So to go into reverse is quite peculiar. You've got to hook it up and pull it back.
Which is why often a lot of these are broken, because people do yank them back.
And did you enjoy using a physical handbrake? Feel it. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to use my politician's term. I'm challenged by that.
Why?
I just no. Oh,
I like it.
Not my cup. Oh no. There is. It's quite high, isn't it?
What?
Very little throw to.
Oh, you should have driven it before, Joe. Honestly, you should have driven it before. And on the video that I did, where it was buyer's remorse video I did on this car, where I was completely honest about how it was at the time. I had quite a lot of people in the comments, because I mean that video got over 100,000 views. A lot of people in the comments going, "Oh, you're not driving it, probably don't know how to drive it," and stuff like this. But even Sports Italia, the guys there, they drove it before and after, and they said that it was undrivable before. It
definitely feels very, very different, and I like it. You're in a very unique car, but it's not what I would deem to be a Grand Tourer.
It's a GranSport.
I recognise that.
Not a Turismo. This is well, look, I'm interested to see what you think, but to me this feels much more like a sports car. The thing I loved about the FF is that I felt like when I was on it driving the FF, I forgot that it had rear seats.
Yeah.
And I get the same feeling in this car.
I see that.
I forget that I've got rear seats, and this feels like a 2-seat sports car to me. But by all means, be honest. What do you think of the steering wheel?
When you were setting the cameras up and I was feeling my way around the car, I thought before we had set everything up today, you'd gone to Halfords and put a new steering wheel on it.
Why?
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan? Are you kidding me?
No, not at all.
I think that this is a better steering wheel than yours.
I'm not. I don't like my steering wheel in my car. I like this less.
No, you're wrong. This is a lovely steering wheel. And what do you think of the pedals?
I prefer mine.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I honestly do.
What the action, the pulling them?
The action feels almost identical. I wouldn't be able to decipher the difference between them. What I'm challenged with these a little bit is I don't like the feel. They're not tactile.
It's carbon fibre. It's lightweight. Your car, it weighs 200 kilograms more than this.
Yes.
This is all super lightweight. all focused on performance. Have you noticed any difference in the gearbox, in the changes? It's not smooth as yours.
There's a slight overrun when you're changing up on gear, but nothing I would mention. I mean, at the moment it's driving along quite normally. We're doing 50 in a 50, funnily enough, and it feels tight. It feels like it's a good gearbox, very similar to mine. Obviously, we yet to push on and see what it's like, but.
But yeah, if you take the sport mode off, you'll feel it all gets a bit smoother.
Yep.
And quieter as well.
So it's a valved exhaust.
Yeah.
Same as mine. It's got. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah.
So you can notice the difference, can't you?
Yeah. Well, I've got a petulant flap.
A petulant flap. Well, it doesn't always.
Sometimes it doesn't always work, which is tedious. That when you're having a bit of fun, you put it into loud mode, and you want to cruise down the motorway. 1 out of 10 times it says no. I quite like.
Oh, really? That frequently?
Yeah, 1 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, James did say, obviously, I got this car off of JM, and he said that does occasionally happen with this, and it gets stuck in the loud mode. But it hasn't actually happened to me. Admittedly, I've only done about 1,000 miles in it.
The steering is a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Than my car.
Yeah.
It's a lot quicker. Which I really like actually. It makes it feel that much more agile when you're driving day to day.
Yeah.
I thought mine was quite quick actually, but this feels quicker.
Yeah, no, definitely, I would agree. And going from the DB9 to this, for me, that was the huge star of the show with this, was the steering is far more enjoyable in here. I can't believe I don't like the steering wheel.
I'm just not a fan of how it looks. I don't know. I mean...
How does it feel? You sound like an old man.
We're not going to...
You are significantly older than me. Significantly.
Sorry, I'm 37. How old are you?
35.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, that is you are significantly closer to 40 than me, and you're sounding like it now. You're sounding your age, definitely. I'd love to know actually in the comments below which of the two steering wheels do you prefer. I guarantee that this will get more votes than.
Yeah, okay, but there's a challenge there, isn't there? Again, because this looks nicer. Mine doesn't. The steering wheel.
It feels nicer. It feels more special. That's what I like about it. I like that and the pedals because the feel of carbon fibre.
Yeah,
it's lovely, and I think it suits.
What's the difference between touching that and plastic?
No, because when you touch plastic in a Maserati, your finger sticks to it, whereas when you touch the carbon fibre, it doesn't.
Very true. I've actually got a little hack for that.
Yeah, wow! I've got some very sticky air vents back here.
So I every couple of months use a Neutrogena makeup remover.
Every couple of months
on the plastic.
Yeah.
And it's been...
But you've got to do it every couple of months.
Oh, that's a challenge, isn't it? That's really difficult.
What do you think of the sound? Obviously, we drove them both here.
Yep.
And me listening to yours, listening to mine. I stand by it. The GranTurismo is just the best standard sounding car ever. This has just got back from Sports Italia. God, we've said Sports Italia about 100 times.
No ads. Promises, no ads.
Yeah. They had to remove some cats which were, shall we say, sort of held together with good or bad intentions. Right, let's see what this is like, eh?
So, it's definitely slightly slower in the gearbox out of the sense.
Yeah.
When you change gear in those 2 gears I did then, you can definitely feel a slight pause between the gear changes.
Yeah.
In comparison to mine, naturally there is a pause, but I feel like this one's slightly more pronounced.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that as well. But for a car which, you know, when you look at it, for a car that when you look at it, it's really aesthetically, this is a car from the 90s. Well, fundamentally, it's, you know, coming from the 90s, the 3200. But, you know, a car that is a proper modern classic like this, with a robotised manual that everybody assumes is terrible, now that the drive-by-wire box has come off, it's still very good, right? It's still very engaging.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of drama there as well.
Yeah, without
isn't
doubt.
there? Like there's quite a punch, like when you've got your foot planted.
So that's what I meant earlier on when I'm preparing for something like a down changing into a lower gear. if I come off the throttle, even if I'm not adjusting my speed, you can really soften that way of working.
Okay.
And it works really nicely. So if I'm coming up here, look, come off, you can go back onto it. It's a lot smoother.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the downshifts are pretty nice. They sound good as well, don't they?
So the sound is noticeably different. It's a lot deeper in this car than it is in mine. And obviously I know you've had the cats taken out now. Well, not all of them, admittedly, but it's a lot deeper in every part of the rev range. The front end just feels sharper, by which I mean I think it certainly feels quicker because of the steering. The steering feels a lot tighter. It just definitely feels a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Really feel it.
The steering is a complete delight, isn't it? It's the star of the show, right?
It's really good. Really, really good.
It'd be fascinating to take both of them around a track, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like, both of us drive both of them around a track. Obviously, I imagine you'd be quicker because I always err on the side of caution. Like whenever I'm driving performance cars, even more so now because obviously I've got children. I mean, one of the reasons why we don't have any of our children with us today is because we are sort of, you know, taking these to the red line today. Because it's such a small car that you can turn it wherever you want. Couldn't have done that on the GranTurismo. Where do you need to get the revs on the GranTurismo? Because on this it's over 4,000, like 4.5.
I'm sure it's similar. I think it's 4.5, 5.
But it is brisk, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Very brisk, and there's a lot of drama to it.
I would argue it is almost identical in performance.
Well, I think
real world.
Yeah, and looking at the stats, they kind of you see various things, different websites, but they both sort of seem to come out at around 4.8, 0 to 60.
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically, with the additional weight in my car and it being slightly bigger, I think they're probably very similar.
Lots of pops and crackles coming from the back, isn't it?
It does sound good.
But it's the steering, the agility for me that this car gives is what was so shocking and why ultimately I wanted to buy it. You know, I didn't expect that it would feel quite as agile, quite as sporty as this does. So I really think that, because the GranSport for me, like growing up, I always just assumed it was terrible because of what everybody else would say, and Parkson saying, oh yeah, the gearbox, you put it into first and then you crashed into the car in front, you put it in reverse and you crashed into the car behind, you know, that sort of thing, and oh, the gearbox is terrible, ruins the car, should have had a manual, and then that's it. Everyone just sort of overlooked it, and that's kind of how I always was with it as well. And then as soon as the GranTurismo came out, with its incredible timeless looks, which still look as good today as when it first came out. Well, look at the new GranTurismo that's out now, it's basically the same car. And I applaud Maserati for that rather than reinventing the wheel. But so yeah, I've always overlooked this because it's just looked too kind of subtle, you know. It's almost like apologetically subtle on the front end compared to the GranTurismo.
The front end of this car does look like, and you're going to have to put a picture up now, it's like, I'm sorry for being so loud. I'm sorry for not having a great gearbox, but I am good, I promise. No, I know exactly what you mean, but this is a significantly rarer car than a GranTurismo. Okay. Significantly rarer. So, are we talking GranSport here, as in actual proper top of the range GranSport?
Definitely GranSport. But I think if you add them all up, if you add up all the different GranTurismos, in fact, I'll do that now and I'll pop it up on screen. I'm confident that number. So this is how many GranSport 4200, 3200 cars were made in total, including the Spiders. And then here's all of the GranTurismos, Gran Cabrios. 2 numbers there. I reckon there's quite a big difference. So
are we suggesting that rarity is better over popularity?
I'm saying that although the GranTurismo is clearly the better looking car. I would agree that.
It's like you and I.
I would agree with that. Well, no, see, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have hair, do I? I used to be quite handsome, you know. It kind of grows and it looks like a patch of grass where dogs have been weeing. You know, like it's just there's dead sections. Yeah. So although the GranTurismo is a far better looking car than this, I'm saying rarity factors into when you hear this V8 roaring, either in this car or in your car, you turn around to have a look at it. The average person on the road who is a car enthusiast, although this isn't as good looking, it's a rarer sight. And when you talk about modern classics, you don't see that often. What I'm saying is, I think you've got to factor that in as well. So it's not necessarily a
This is
completely
called,
clear win.
I think in the game, this is called plucking at straws.
You reckon?
I definitely reckon.
There's a lot of people that see this car and then they don't even know what it is. They're like, well, what is that?
I'm a massive fan of this car. I think it's a spectacular car, and actually a car that you could use at the weekends, I think this is more suited for. For a car that you would use every day, I think mine does suit that, possibly with the ZF gearbox as opposed to the MC.
I would say that this car is better than your car for somebody who is buying their 4-seat Maserati to have as a second car, as a weekend car for, you know, sunny Sunday morning blasts, but they will still want the ability to take the children out as well, just for an occasions car. Whereas your car is better for somebody who's going to be using it as a semi-daily. Could this be more fun on a blast? With its steering, its lighter weight, smaller proportions on B roads. Would you agree with that? Feel free to completely disagree.
We agree on many things. On this occasion, I don't agree. I don't agree. I strongly believe that my car it has the ability to be two. You put it into the quiet normal mode and it is something of nothing. It's spectacular. You can drive along really quietly and have a really sedate, nice Sunday afternoon drive in a special feeling, special looking car. Press one button and it becomes an exceptionally good sports car that, whilst you are challenged by the fact of it's heavy, it's large, but actually you oversee all of that in every single dimension, every single environment where you can really enjoy it. At no point have I found it's too big, too cumbersome or too heavy. Apart from when I'm replacing tyres, bushes, engine mounts, diff mounts.
Look, we'll let the comment section decide then. You know, do you agree with me? I reckon that this is the better purchase as a second car that you're only going to use in fair weather and at the weekends. And you reckon that your car is still superior?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, see, I agree that as a daily, as a semi-daily, yours is superior. But yeah, that's what I agree. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think is the superior car to have as a second car for, you know, weekend blasts and things, and something that you can still take the children out with. But what I think we cannot disagree on, one thing, which is that I'm basically more of a hardcore dadcarist than you, because you've just said that this isn't as capable as a daily, like notably. Well, we both agree this isn't as capable as a daily as yours. Definitely isn't, but that is exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously, you're too soft to have this as a daily.
Let's just combine the last 2 years worth of mileage you've done in the cars you've owned. How many miles have you done in this?
Thank you all so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out the video that we did as well on Joe's car that he's owned for the last 2 years. Find out how many miles he's done in it, how much it's all cost him, and don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with another Maserati owner, because I would love to make more videos like this on Maserati content. Look, I'm going down the rabbit hole now with Maseratis. I'm hopelessly in love with them. And yeah, look, if this video gets, I reckon if this video gets over 50,000 views, I reckon me and you should do another video comparing our two cars, but getting a 0 to 60 tester.
No, we're doing a dyno.
And a dyno.
And a dyno.
Yeah, but if this video gets like 4,000 views and then just no one else watches it, then I'm not going to go to all the expense of getting like a 0 to 60 thing and stuff like that. But yeah, so if you'd like to see that as well, engage with this video, share it with somebody else. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
So with all of that said, if you had the opportunity to take one of these cars home tonight,
Yeah.
my car
Yeah.
or your car,
Mm-hmm.
which one would it be?
It'd be the GranTurismo. We've just finished filming, haven't we? And then this wonderful gentleman here, who seems like he's got impeccable taste. I mean, I can just tell by looking at you. But what did you say? Which out of the two cars would you rather have?
I'll definitely go for the blue V8 over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the GranSport.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
It sounds amazing as well.
sounds incredible.
Yes.
It looks amazing. It's
got that
understated.
classic
it's classic.
look.
And you
Yeah.
just don't see those around, do you?
No.
So
So if I were to take you out in my car now, would you
Yeah.
change your mind?
you'd still rather go out now, wouldn't you?
No.
Well, and then on that bombshell, I think that sort of seals it really. The GranSport wins.